Hello there, my friends. Welcome into another Teach Me Tuesday episode. This is Jen Pinna with By the Shore Stamping. I am going to do a quick video for you today. I'm actually on my way out the door for card class tonight. And today has actually been, or could have been, a really rough day for me. I have had a rough start to the day, but I'm actually in pretty good spirits, especially considering it's kind of a negative anniversary for me. Today marks 14 years without my dad, so he's kind of in my thoughts today. And when I was out walking this morning, I almost got run over by a car. As I was walking by a driveway, somebody, quickly put it in reverse and hit the gas really fast, and I had to literally jump out of the way so I didn't get hit by the car. And then I got home and I was blow drying my hair, and my hairdryer caught on fire, and I had to air out the house because the whole house was smoky. And then I was cutting and prepping for card class today, and I sliced two of my fingers, actually, but one of them didn't really bleed all that much, but I bled all over a bunch of the cardstock that I had started cutting, so I had to start all over again. So, despite it being just not a great day in general, usually, there was a lot of comical relief, I think, today, so I think it was all good. But because I'm in a frame of mind to think about my dad, I wanted to show you another scrapbook page today, and I feel like the only time I'm scrapping lately is with, kind of sad things, but it actually makes me feel much better to scrap about the things that bring me grief or bring me sadness, because it makes me sort of release it, and it's very cathartic. It's one of the things that actually got me through the death of my mom 5 years ago, actually almost 6 years ago, was the fact that I had crafting to turn to. And it's really hard once you get into crafting to really focus on anything else but what you're thinking about. So therefore it kind of takes your brain off of the dwelling about who's missing or who's gone or all that kind of stuff. So it really did help me at the height of my grief. I still deal with that very regularly, and now what I do usually is turn to create something to, one, it reminds me, it kind of takes my brain off of the what's missing thing, but it also helps me remember the good times, which is what is most important as we're remembering loved ones that are no longer here. So I wanted to share, I have this one photo of my dad. That's an exaggeration. I do have other photos of me and my dad, but they're very far and few between because my dad did not like his picture taken. So I'm gonna scrap just this one. I love this photo, actually. It was Halloween. That's why I was dressed that way. I was waitressing at the time, and they came in to visit me. And that face is because my dad hates to have his picture taken, but he was in public, so he couldn't yell at my mother. So it just cracks me up every time I look at this picture. So it was a great picture for me to work with. But what I want to show you this video is we kind of talked about it before, and how to use your stamps in your scrapbooks, but today I'm going to actually use 5 different stamping techniques on this one layout. So I'll show you that you can really get, and I'm only using this one stamp, so it's one stamp set 5 ways. So you can really see how you can make a stamp set work for you, not just in scrapbooking, but in card making too. I challenge you to kind of figure out a way to use a stamp set 5 times on one stamp set, on one page or one card. It's pretty challenging, but it's also pretty fun. And actually, I shouldn't say it's really challenging for the scrapbooking. I did this one pretty easily, but I'll show you some of my tips and tricks. Because I am leaving shortly to go to card class, I'm not going to do a lot of the stamping with you because I just don't have the time at this point, and plus most of my stuff I had to pack up and put away. So I did most of the stamping in advance, but I'll show you the 5 different ways I've used this Rose Wonder stamp set on my page, and I'll give you some tips and tricks for what I did to fix some errors and whatnot, because guess what? I make them too. All right, so first step is I'm using a piece of, well, first we started with the fabulous piece of the Springtime Foils Designer Series paper. This is one of the items you can get for Celebration. So if you spend $50, you can pick this beautiful paper. I like it because it's a nice thick cardstock, so it actually makes a very good scrapbooking base because it's nice and heavy duty. So first step, my first technique for using stamps on your pages is to use them for a border. So I don't know if you can see this, the lighting is kind of not the greatest at the moment, but you can see along the edges of this cardstock, I stamped the little flowers from the stamp set. So I'm going to lay that down here. That's going to be a little bit of a base here. It was just to kind of break up the polka dots a little bit, because that can be a little bit overwhelming. So I just laid, it's an 8x8 piece of cardstock, so it's just from an 8.5 by 11 piece of cardstock. So even if you don't have 12 by 12 size pattern paper in a coordinating color, you can totally use your 8.5 by 11 on your 12 by 12 page. So that was number one. Number two, I'm using a stamp as a background, and as you can tell, I stamped this very, very poorly. But once I realized that I was going to actually cover most of that anyway, wasn't going to matter. You can see I made a boo-boo there, and then half of it's missing. I'm just telling you, it's the way the day is going today, so it's all good. So I put a strip of coordinating cardstock next to it along the side here, and then I did distress the edges with my scissors, and then I stamped here. And so this is technique number 2 for using your stamp set in scrapbooking, and this I just used as a background. It's not really going to be a high focal point of the page, but it's going to be kind of a background thing. And again, I used tone on tone because I love that effect on a scrapbook page. I think it adds to the page without taking away from the photos. And just another side tip on this, the flowers that I stamped on this fresh fig, those actually were used with Versamark. I had already packed away my fresh fig ink pad for tonight's class, so I didn't have that. So I used Versamark. Versamark is a great versatile stamp, ink pad rather, that you can use for any color you want, because whatever you stamp it on, it's going to match that cardstock. It's like a watermark stamp or a watermark ink, so it matches whatever color you're on. So that's a great little trick. If you don't have a matching color to a paper that you have, you can use your Versamark. You just want to make sure you give it a couple seconds to dry, because it is a sticky ink, so because it's designed to heat emboss with, so it is designed to pick up that powder and hold on to it. But once it dries, as it is here, it's completely it completely blends in with whatever cardstock color you are using. So first up, we did a border with our stamps. Number 2 is the background, which is what we did here. And I'm going to go ahead and tape that down. The third way to use a stamp set is to do a photo frame. So you can see these 2 little leaves here, and my photo is going to go right in the middle. So now those 2 little leaves kind of frame my photo. So sometimes if I have a larger mat, I'll put like little elements on either side of the frame, or you could do all 4 of the frame or all 4 of the sides. I just use it as sort of a frame of the photo. So that's another way to use your stamps. Another little trick or a little tip here that you probably wouldn't notice, but if you look here, there's some little dots in those leaves, and that was completely by accident. I pushed too hard and I caught the center of the stamp. So what I did here is I just drew in 3 little dots of my own, and now it looks like I did it on purpose. So you can tell that I was in a rush as I was stamping. So I'm going to let it go, and I'm going to overlap it just a little bit over that seam, and we're going to attach that down. I'm hoping I land these in the right spot. So then I can put my photo down, which is going to go right in between those leaves. All right, so, and we're covering up part of that missing element here now. So we'll put that down. All right, so next up, I used the stamp for journaling. So for some things, there are just no words. And there's a couple of reasons for that. One, because I just feel like the love between a father and a daughter, or a mother and a daughter, or anything like that, there is no words for that kind of love. It's just true, right? So, and then there's also, it just kind of goes with this picture because he wasn't saying what he really wanted to say. Because he really wanted to yell at my mom for taking pictures of him in public, but he couldn't because he was in public. So this I'm going to go ahead and attach, and I'm actually going to put a little dimensional on this one side because it's a little thicker. It's sticking up a little bit on that side. Let me just see. And yeah, see, it's kind of uneven. So maybe I'll do it on both sides. I'm just trying to get that evened out. So I'm going to go ahead and put dimensionals on both sides. And I'm going to put that here, which now you can see I've covered all of those little issues with the flower under there. All right, so there's that. And then I'm going to attach this little flower. So journaling is number 4. So we have, Yeah, 4. I had to think, sorry. So border is number 1, photo frame is number 2, background is number 3, journaling is number 4, and then embellishment is number 5. So there are your 5 ways. So this time I'm going to just put a little bit of regular adhesive on this side, and then I'm going to just take a little piece of dimensional, and that way I can even it out. So I'm just going to go ahead and attach that like that. Okay, and then I did do some little journaling because I thought this one needed some explanation, and I think I'm just going to put it down here in the corner because I did think, as you can tell, I tried it once before and didn't like the way that worked, so I switched it up, and now I'm just going to put it down here flat in the corner. And there you have the finished page. So once again, to review, 5 ways to use the stamps on your scrapbook page. Border, okay, all the way around the border of that. Background, which is this flower. Frame, a photo frame, which are these 2. It frames my photo. Journaling, so I used the actual sentiment from the stamps to be part of my journaling. And then an embellishment, which you could actually qualify both of these as embellishments. So I created my own little element to use as a embellishment. And there you have it. So there's the finished page. So that is it. 5 ways to use your stamps in your scrapbooks. So I hope you'll look at your stamps a little bit differently. And again, it could be used like that on a card too, or any sort of project. I really encourage you to kind of find multiple ways to use the stamp sets that you get, because that's what they're for. You can use them over and over again. You can create in any color so they coordinate with whatever you're doing, and you can use them in a multitude of ways. So that is all I have for you today. I am going to head out the door, but thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe, and if you want to share with your friends, you can do that too. I'd be very appreciative. Have a great week, and we'll talk to you next time for Teach Me Tuesday.